Auburn Blitz is now on the air. Your daily look into what's happening in Auburn athletics. With your host, Andy Graham, Brett Pritchard, Randy Lee, War Eagle.
Good afternoon, I guess. Just now turned an afternoon.
Yep.
It's JJ. Look, we're kind of flying blind here a little bit. No Andy today.
That's right. He's decided to travel on us to Kentucky, so.
Okay. JJ and Jim going to be with you for the next hour here on the Auburn Blitz, and we're happy to have you guys with us here for the next hour. Talk about anything and everything in the world of Auburn sports. Of course, basketball up and going, and it's really kind of coming down to that crunch time. We start looking at seeding and conference tournaments and how all that's going to shake out going into this year. Of course, over the weekend, Auburn with a big win over Georgia. I'm not sure Auburn's played their best basketball the last couple of games, but it's been enough.
Oh, yeah.
And you don't have to beat every team.
No, but you got to look at the reverse. They're going to get the best of everybody else.
That's right.
Because Georgia, that some of these teams coming, the Georgias, the Ole Miss, those people are looking for either a way into the tournament or even an Ole Miss, since they're already in, they're looking for a way to get a better seed. And if you beat a number one, you got a good resume.
That's right. And, everybody is, that's the thing with Georgia and with Arkansas. These are teams desperate for a win because they're fighting to maybe get into the tournament, right? And but you look at that, but, man, I don't know what else you say. I don't know how Johni Broome doesn't win the National Player of the Year.
I don't either.
I know there are some guys in the national media that vote on this kind of stuff that, for whatever reason don't like Bruce Pearl or, whatever.
The only one side of the argument I've heard for the flag side of it is he's a freshman, and he's doing it all as a freshman. Like, so young, he's putting up these numbers. He's just come in and took over.
Well, he's been an awesome special player. I mean, he's as good as any freshman I remember.
Right. Well, I mean, if he leaves this year, he's going to be in the top 5, maybe even the top 1 pick going out.
No doubt.
So there is a little bit of an argument. But it kind of depends on, to me, the guys that are getting to vote in that thing. Are we voting for an MVP more or less? Are we voting for the most valuable player on that team? Because Auburn's already shown, even without him, they've won some ball games. But they've also shown with him, they needed him in Georgia the other night to win that ball game. He took over it.
Got just a massive performance. And here's the thing, too, with Johni Broome. And, Bruce Pearl said after the game, he said he trains like a pro, he prepares like a pro, he's invested in his development, and he's got his own trainer who's been here this week. His family's invested in him being the best player he can be. He's got Broome tattooed on his back.
Yep.
Johni Broome, to me, has been the best player in college basketball. Cooper Flagg's been right up there.
Sure.
I don't know that the conversation goes any further than those two.
No.
And so, we'll see how that
there's some dominant players or good players in the SEC. Say Mark Sears, last 2 weeks, 2 nights, he's had 30 points.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can put him in a conversation, but he's just not doing it night in and night out like these guys are.
That's right. And I think too, when you look at where Auburn is, you talked about they won some games without him. I actually was having this conversation Saturday night with a friend of mine. We were watching basketball.
Mm-hmm.
And we watched the Auburn game, then we were watching the Alabama game. He said, the thing is with Auburn, and I believe this, Auburn is a top 10 without Johni Broome. If Johni Broome was playing at UCLA right now,
right,
Auburn's a top 10 team,
right,
in my opinion.
Right.
And maybe top 5, But what he does is that you take a top 10 roster and you put that guy in the middle of it, and it changes everything.
He's what we refer to a lot of times in football as the erasers. Yeah. He's one of those guys like what you just said. Without him, these games like they played against Georgia the first time were close.
Yeah.
He came in this time around and erased those mistakes, those things that they maybe didn't shoot as well. Johni just took over and just said, give me the ball.
Yeah, unbelievable. Like I said, unbelievable game. 37 minutes. He goes for 31 points, 14 rebounds. 4 assists, 2 blocks. Was 2 of 3 from the three-point line.
That's what you should give teams nightmares, because you're supposed to be trying to block that guy in the post, not out there on the three-point line.
And by the way, 7 of 11 from the free throw line.
Right.
So You know, he can be very picky with the 3-point shot, which he should be.
Right.
But he can hit them, and then he's not a liability at the free throw line. So,
Right.
like I said, if there's a better player in college basketball this year, I haven't seen him. Although I give Cooper Flagg all the credit in the world for how great he's been.
You know, and then we have our 5-star freshman in Pettiford only scored 2 points in that game.
Right.
That kind of shows, or should show everybody out there, this team has so many different ways to win a basketball game. If you literally put if all that group shows up on one night, it's over. Like I don't think you could even have a chance against them.
That's right. Upcoming schedule, of course, Wednesday, hosting Ole Miss at 6 o'clock. Mm-hmm. At Kentucky on Saturday. That'll be the schedule for this week, on Saturday at noon. Rupp could be a challenge. You know, Rupp is still Rupp. And that Kentucky team, maybe not one of the top 5 teams in the country, but it's a darn good basketball team. And then, you know, they're going to be coming off a loss Saturday against Alabama. They're still under 500, hard as it is to believe, in SEC play. So
they're kind of skidding a little bit. And Ole Miss the same way. I mean, Ole Miss, we beat them by 10, you know, in Oxford first time around this year. So I kind of feel like Auburn knows what they got to do. They just got to go out there and go get it done.
Ole Miss is 8-6 in conference. Kentucky's 7-7.
Yeah.
Kentucky overall is 18-9. Ole Miss 19-8. Both of those teams are headed to the tournament. It's a question of how, you know, where they fit in.
Right. And again, it would look great for either one of them to have a win against the number 1 team in the country.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So you watch those. I think that Rupp game could get tricky. Got the Alabama game at the end of the year.
Auburn's traditionally never played well in Rupp. I mean, that's been a bad place for us.
A tough place for most people. Yeah. It's tough all the time. So we'd love to get your thoughts on it. If you want to get in on the conversation, 256-234-6221. We'll be glad to pipe you in, and we'll have a little talk about Auburn basketball here. Or, you know, whatever else you want to talk about, too. What did you see this weekend that kind of stood out to you? Anything? Basketball?
As far as the basketball game itself? Yeah, I mean, I saw, you know, some mistakes being made of the defense obviously showed up, and they played their normal everyday defense that they, as people like to say, defense travels. And I don't know, I'm starting to see things out of Janiyah that when he gets in that post and he's working, you know, I call it working somebody back to the rim.
Yeah.
When he's working them, it's getting to be obvious on film, to me anyway, watching it, that he always spins the same way every time.
Right.
Have you noticed that? When he backs a guy into the low post, instead of swinging to his left, he always turns to his right.
Okay.
So I don't know if I'm the only person that's noticed that. I'm surely to goodness these other teams are starting to see that. So he's going to have to throw in a little something different down there.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's either his moves are he either swings to that right side or he does the step back little fade from you. You know, and that's his 2 signature little moves.
I think the question is, what teams have the front line size and depth to compete?
Right.
And so I think with
well, I think you saw it the other night in Z in Arkansas. Z could get down there and play with him height-wise and keep him going. The problem is he couldn't score.
Yeah.
So if your guy can't produce what Janiyah's producing on the other end on offense, then you got a problem.
I think when you look at Florida's front court, they're probably in a great position to compete.
Sure.
I think Alabama's got depth there with Nelson Stevenson and Clifford the Big Red Dog.
But, you know, just like the game we watched in Tuscaloosa, do you really think that any one of those post players from Alabama was just going to take over? I mean, Nelson's a good player, but he's not a great player.
Yeah. And he's not really a post player. Right. He's more of a wing, you know, but just a 6'11" wing.
And it looks that's the way that the offense is set up over there, is they kind of want you just shooting from everywhere, you know. Keep his, what does he call it, the analytics. He just wants to keep throwing it up there until, you know, we're going to score eventually.
It's a three or it's at the rim.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
You know, so I think when you take a look around at what teams now, the old saying is that guard play is what wins in the tournament.
Sure.
And you know, you got the best big guy you want. Guard play wins in the tournament. There is some truth to that because you've got to limit turnovers. You get against a good tournament team, and you start turning the ball over, and your guards can't handle pressure or whatever,
right,
you're going to have serious problems. Right. Yeah, you know. And
I think it reared its head a little bit last year in Auburn's game against Yale. Is when you start bringing pressure to that point guard, just the second he crosses half court, you don't let them set up their offense. You know, if you can get into somebody's face like that and they don't handle pressure well, that's what you're talking about. Is they're going to get in trouble fast.
How good is the SEC tournament going to be? And here's another interesting question. If you're Bruce Pearl, and maybe Janai's ankle's a little bit sore, right? Are you playing him in the tournament?
Well, and that was about to be a great question I had for you. I mean, what is the importance to Auburn? If Auburn's already sewn up the SEC and they're going to win the regular season, why would I want to go get beat up multiple days in a row playing multiple games on guys that were already limping around like Chad Baker-Mazara, Broom? They have little nagging injuries, and you don't need that extra wear and tear on there.
You know, I think there's a couple of ways of looking at it, right? On the one hand, I've always been a believer, if you got a chance to put a trophy in the trophy case, do it.
Right.
You know, if you got a chance to cut down some nets.
Okay. Well, now you're getting into the question or the answer that I was looking for. Which net are we talking about, the SEC net or the national net? Because if you got a chance to win that national net and you can save a few players at the SEC, I think you save them at the SEC.
Yeah, I see the reason to do it.
Right, okay.
Right? Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure if I have one or two, maybe I give them a light rotation.
Okay.
Right? Maybe they're playing, I don't want people to think I'm tanking it, but I'm.
So you're saying Auburn's going to give a 80% job instead of 100?
You know, I'm saying I see reasons to do that.
Right.
At the same time, it is hard to win that dadgum big tournament.
Right.
I mean, you're talking about 6 wins in a row against quality competition. You know, it's just hard to do, man.
They pulled it off last year.
If you got a chance to cut down some nets in the conference tournament, why not put that trophy in the trophy case?
I can see where you're going, and because obviously this is going to be probably the best conference, you know, ever to play basketball. Yeah. If they get 12 to 13 in like they're talking about, it could be the greatest ever.
Yeah.
And if you win that tournament, that's a big thing to say.
That's, you know, you're talking about going down now as not just a great basketball team, but one of the best teams of all time. You win the regular season, you win the conference tournament. Now you make your way to the Final Four in the championship game, you're talking about historic stuff there.
Well, now, and here's a question for when we come back from the break. I want you to think on it a minute. Mm-hmm. Is Janaya going to go down as the best at Auburn?
Well, yeah, we'll talk about that on the other side of the break. 256-234-6221. If you've got an opinion on that, we'll be back. More of the Auburn Blitz coming up.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area a team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice Motors.
Looking to transform your outdoor space? Look no further than Bama Sheds. As a family-owned and operated business, we understand your needs. That's why we offer no credit check, rent-to-own options. Enjoy free delivery and setup within 35 miles of our 4 convenient locations. Whether you need a shed, pole barn, garage, or carport, we've got you covered. Visit our website at bamasheds.com or call 256-268-8484. Bama Sheds, where quality meets affordability and your outdoor dreams become reality.
Presley Appliance and Furniture, located on Cherokee Road in Alexander City, is locally owned and operated with over 35 years of experience in the appliance and furniture business. Specializing in Amana, Whirlpool, KitchenAid, and Ashley Furniture, Presley Appliance services what they sell and will make sure you receive top-notch customer service. Call them today at 256-329-9762 or drop by to see them on Cherokee Road in Alexander City. Presley Appliance and Furniture, where they service what they sell.
This is Kathy Holmes with Pepper Tree Steaks and Wine. Jeff Verner and I opened in East Montgomery 25 years ago and have become the premier butcher shop, wine retailer, and caterer in the River region. We are excited to invite you to our newest location at 2459 East Glen Avenue in Auburn, Opelika. We want to become your one-stop shop for the freshest cuts of meat in town, grab-and-go casseroles, gift items, and the best wine selection in the area. Think of us when catering your next event. Check us out online at steaksandwine.com for daily lunch specials and details on upcoming wine tastings and fun events.
There's only one option for top-of-the-line aftermarket upgrades on your vehicle, and that's Frontline Outfitters. We offer quality parts, lift kits, custom wheels and tires, bed covers, step bars, and toolboxes. They're installed by trained and skilled professionals, to custom powder coating with hundreds of colors and finishes, to the highest quality film for window tinting using state-of-the-art film cutting technology. Call Frontline Outfitters at 256-409-8100. Don't be in the back of the line. Put your vehicle at the front with Frontline Outfitters.
Looking for the perfect spot to unwind? Welcome to Bunkers. Our friendly staff and vibrant atmosphere make Bunkers the ultimate hangout space for all ages. With 6 state-of-the-art golf simulator stations, you can play around with friends no matter the weather. Enjoy mouth-watering food and a wide variety of handcrafted mixed drinks. With our attached parking deck, access is always hassle-free. Make your next night out unforgettable at Bunkers.
Discover great deals on Kawasaki motorcycles, watercraft, side-by-sides, and more. Save big on championship-proving KX motorcycles. Get a great deal on iconic Kawasaki jet ski personal watercraft, or take advantage of big adventure for less with savings on our rugged Terex side-by-sides. There's no better time to save on our exciting lineup of Kawasaki vehicles. Visit Adams Motorsports on the Boulevard today, or see all the Kawasaki products at adamsmotorsports.com, where your pleasure is our business.
Here we go again. Hammering down high prices at Glenn Smith GMC in Opelika. New GMC Sierra 4x4 crew cabs discounted up to $14,000 off. GMC Terrain with a roomy cabin and pro safety discounted up to $7,500 off. Enjoy the new year with no payments until summertime. Choose from over 500 new and used vehicles on the lot or on the way. GlennSmith.com. Get ready to smile.
Welcome back to the Auburn Blitz. JJ and Jim with you today. Andy is traveling, so safe travels to you, Andy. We'll see you back hopefully tomorrow. The Auburn Blitz is brought to you by Russell Do-It Centers with 9 locations: Alex City, Auburn, Clanton, Dadeville, Eclectic, Harpersville, Prattville, Roanoke, and Wetumpka. The place to go for your do-it-yourself needs. J.A. Smith Construction Excavation at 334-531-0199. And, of course, Sensa Green Heating, Cooling, and Insulation, 334-487-3555. All right, so, Jim, you had an interesting question that you put out to the world there before we left. Is Janai Broome the best player in Auburn basketball history? And I'm going to tell you why it's interesting, because it gives me a chance to discuss something I always talk about when in football, right? There is the best and there is the greatest.
Right.
Those aren't necessarily the same things, right?
Okay.
I still think Michael Jordan is the best basketball player I've ever seen, period, right?
Oh, there's no,
end of story. The best basketball player I've ever seen.
Right.
I still think Kareem Abdul-Jabbar may be the greatest basketball player of all time. And sometimes it's different, right? What did you mean to the sport? How long were you in the sport? Were you, it's that sort of thing.
Kind of the era that you came through as well.
Absolutely. Is Tom Brady the best quarterback that I've ever seen? I don't know, because dang, John Elway, man, he was a monster.
You can go down the list, some of those 49ers, like Joe Montana.
Yeah, but the Super Bowl rings tell me Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time. So I don't know that necessarily best and greatest always go hand in hand, but on the Barkley Broome conversation, I was looking at some of his accolades and stats in his college career and this kind of thing. We're just going to go college career. I don't know that Janai, you cannot expect Janai Broome or anybody else to have the kind of pro career that Charles had. I mean, 20,000 points and won a league MVP.
Yeah, that's why the question was raised at Auburn. Of the two, because I don't think there is a three to have in the discussion. I mean, there's a few that we've had back there that were good players that went on to the pros, but not to this level of numbers or played as long as Broome has. He's been there a long time.
Yeah, I think it's those. The discussion is those two.
Two, yeah.
Barkley played at Auburn for 3 years. Let's see. He was officially listed at 6'6". We know he's not. He's 6'4". Averaged 14.1 points, 63% shooting, 9.5 rebounds, 1.5 assists, 1.7 blocks. 1984 led Auburn to their first NCAA tournament. Finished with 23 points on 80% field goal shooting, 17 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks. That's a Janai Broome stat line right there that Barkley was putting up. Had his number 34 retired in 2001. Of course, he went on to play in the Olympics. So at Auburn, Barkley's teams, are not going to have the level of accomplishment that Janai's are.
Right.
I would say I think we got to see what happens at the end of this year.
Okay. All right, now so let's put.
But you can make a strong argument if Auburn takes this thing. Just say they don't win a national championship, they go to the Final Four.
Right.
I think you make a strong argument that Janai Broome's the greatest player in Auburn history.
Okay. Well, that's what I was about to say. So there's a cake of Janai Broome. To put the icing on it, is that National Player of the Year?
If he wins Barkley won National Player of the Year.
That's what I'm saying. Does he have to have it to be on the same level as Sir Charles?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I think they'll be looked at along the same level, and that may be one of those things that you look at and you go, okay, well, Barkley has it and Janai doesn't.
Right.
So, I don't know. That's for people in the future to worry about, right? But
sure.
I think the National Player of the Year would go a long way.
So if what you're saying is if he wins it or doesn't win it, but if he does win it, it's going to kind of put him on an even playing field of Barkley. And then if he carries his team to the Final Four or further, then there's no question.
It puts him on personal accomplishment level with Barkley.
Right.
And then, depending on what the team does, probably way beyond, even just in the years he's been there, way beyond what Barkley's team's accomplished. That's not on Barkley. Barkley didn't recruit the players around him. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so.
Well, and it's what we just talked about kind of at the opening of the program was that the level of the SEC now, when you're talking about 11, 12, 13 teams making the tournament, in Charles' era, there wasn't even 3 or 4 that they were discussing the tournament.
Yeah.
So
Kentucky
that's a different level.
Maybe 1 or 2 others, right?
Right, yeah. Kentucky and whoever else that happened to have a good team for that year.
Yeah, yeah.
But, now to take a different spin on it, I'm going to cover on the side of Bruce here. I saw something on X earlier that I wanted to read it off. Auburn improved to 25-2 today by completing a sweep over Georgia. It's the 6th time in 7 years the Tigers have won at least 25 games. That's more than any other SEC team during that stretch of years. Question mark, Bruce. I'm gonna throw the same question at you. Mm-hmm. Is Bruce the greatest greatest coach that's ever came to Auburn basketball?
Settled.
Yes.
I think that is settled and done. And I have great respect for Sonny Smith, who I think was a hell of a coach.
Oh, yeah.
Cliff Ellis was a good coach.
Now, my only teetering, and I love that he's winning all these regular season games, but my only teetering is that postseason.
Yeah.
We've seemed to, when we get there, we failed with Yale, as they want to say.
But he has taken a team to the Final Four.
He did do that. That is correct.
And
we had Houston with a 12-point lead and somehow blew that in the second half. I'm not saying he's not a great coach because he is, but for some reason in those big games we're having a little slack there.
Well, let's come back and let's talk about that because I have a little bit of a different view on how that affects greatness of coaches, but we'll talk about it on the other side. It's the Auburn Blitz. We'll be right back.
For air that's cool and clean, call Sensi Green. For air that's cool and clean, care about the air you breathe, call Sensi Green.
Turn to the experts at Sensigreen and find out how to get up to $1,000 in Carrier Cool Cash rebates. Visit Sensigreen.com today to be worry-free when it comes to your home comfort and indoor air quality.
For air that's cool and clean, care about the air you breathe, call Sensi Green.
This is Kathy Holmes with Pepper Tree Steaks and Wine. Jeff Verner and I opened in East Montgomery 25 years ago and have become the premier butcher shop, wine retailer, and caterer in the River region. We are excited to invite you to our newest location at 2459 East Glen Avenue in Auburn, Opelika. We want to become your one-stop shop for the freshest cuts of meat in town, grab-and-go casseroles, gift items, and the best wine selection in the area. Think of us when catering your next event. Check us out online at steaksandwine.com for daily lunch specials and details on upcoming wine tastings and fun events.
Presley Appliance and Furniture, located on Cherokee Road in Alexander City, is locally owned and operated with over 35 years of experience in the appliance and furniture business. Specializing in Amana, Whirlpool, KitchenAid, and Ashley Furniture, Presley Appliance services what they sell and will make sure you receive top-notch customer service. Call them today at 256-329-9762 or drop by to see them on Cherokee Road in Alexander City. Presley Appliance and Furniture, where they service what they sell.
Russell Do-It Center and Building Supply is your headquarters for all the brands contractors know best. We are your local home improvement store with 9 convenient locations throughout Central Alabama. We have a huge selection of Weber and Traeger, Pelican coolers, Milwaukee and DeWalt tools, and other top brands. No matter the project, we have you covered with our high-quality lumber and building supplies. From do-it-yourselfers to seasoned pros, Russell Do-It Center and Building Supply has what you need to get the job done.
There's only one option for top-of-the-line aftermarket upgrades on your vehicle, and that's Frontline Outfitters. We offer quality parts, lift kits, custom wheels and tires, bed covers, step bars, and toolboxes. They're installed by trained and skilled professionals, to custom powder coating with hundreds of colors and finishes, to the highest quality film for window tinting using state-of-the-art film cutting technology. Call Frontline Outfitters at 256-409-8100. Don't be in the back of the line. Put your vehicle at the front with Frontline Outfitters.
Passion, the obsession that burns within. Determination, the burning desire to make it. Drive, the motivation to be the absolute best. Skills, the tools to perform at the highest level. Excellence, the feeling of achievement. At Central Alabama Community College, you can release your passion, show your determination, display your drive, and showcase your skills to achieve excellence. Central Alabama Community College, central to you, central to your success.
Looking for the perfect spot to unwind? Welcome to Bunkers. Our friendly staff and vibrant atmosphere make Bunkers the ultimate hangout space for all ages. With 6 state-of-the-art golf simulator stations, you can play around with friends no matter the weather. Enjoy mouth-watering food and a wide variety of handcrafted mixed drinks. With our attached parking deck, access is always hassle-free. Make your next night out unforgettable at Bunkers.
J.A. Smith Construction, licensed general contractor and your trusted choice for land clearing and grading, site work, underground utilities, concrete paving, and material hauling. They also do storm drain installations, fish ponds, and slough dredging. Call Alexander at 256-896-1400 or email asmith@jasmithconstruct.com. No job is too big or too small for J.A. Smith Construction, the top choice for all of your land service needs.
Chick-fil-A is always the best option when you're on the go, but they are also great when it comes to planning your next event, from tailgating to birthday parties to weddings. Call Chick-fil-A Alexander City at 256-289-7955 for catering, or order on the Chick-fil-A app. Make sure to choose the Alexander City location and have your catering order ready to go. Nugget trays, mac and cheese trays, fruit trays, cookie trays, gallons of our famous lemonade or tea, and chilled grilled chicken sub sandwiches, and a lot more options. Make it Chick-fil-A Alexander City for your next event.
Welcome back to the Auburn Blitz. JJ and Jim with you as we cruise along without Andy. Today's traveling, and so we're on this discussion about Janai Broome, Charles Barkley. We think it's down to those two as the greatest player in Auburn history. Mm-hmm. And I don't think it's not fair to totally judge Janai yet because his career's not over.
Right.
So let's see what happens this year, and I think we can have a pretty level conversation about it.
You'd feel confident in saying if we stopped right now, he'd be number 2.
I feel confident in saying it might be 1A, 1B.
Right.
You know?
And if we end the season in the right way, that he gets the National Player of the Year.
Let's say he wins National Player of the Year and Auburn wins the national championship. Janai Broome is the greatest basketball player in the history of
Discussion
Auburn.
over. Yeah.
Discussion over.
Right.
I think if he wins National Player of the Year and they don't win a national championship, still maybe.
Right.
It's not like Charles won a national title, right? So,
well, and we had a comment from
the NCAA. Yeah, go ahead and read the comment. I'll add something to that.
Yeah, Jamie, we had, he said, I guess because I'm old, I now remember Charles being so much funny to watch, but JB, which Janai Broome, has such range under the basket, and his defense looks almost easy for him. He could just hit more threes.
I agree he could hit more threes, but here's the thing. When Charles was playing at Auburn, they didn't have a three-point line.
Right.
Three-point line wasn't added until 1986. And Charles, in the NBA, by the time he got to Phoenix, that guy could shoot. I mean, he was a three-point shooter, you know.
Right.
So had they had the three-point line then, you know, the styles of basketball have changed.
Might be similar conversations.
We might be looking at the same thing.
Right.
And in that respect, they're not. I will say this: Charles was never known as a very passionate defender. Right. It just wasn't. He liked to block shots, but he wasn't really going to.
Well, you know, and as we got on the discussion right as the break was coming as well about Janai's coach in Pearl.
Yeah.
Pearl's a defensive coach. Like if you play basketball for him, you're going to play defense.
Yeah.
So the question is, now that we got on that discussion, is Pearl, you know, the greatest of all time at Auburn?
And let me say this: there is, you know, you could point to any coach that goes to the tournament on a regular basis, and there's going to be some disappointing losses in the tournament.
Sure.
You know, I think you take a look at some of the Yale loss. I know last year still kind of stings, right? Because I don't know about how anybody. I had Auburn in my Final Four in my bracket. You know, well, they killed my Final Four right out of the gate.
You're fixing to see a bunch of brackets killed this year if they don't make it, because there's people even outside of the Auburn world, people's going to be riding Auburn to the championship.
No question.
Yeah.
And look, I think the game everybody would like to see would be Auburn-Duke.
Yeah.
Nationally, I think that's what everybody would like to see. I think us down here in the Southeastern Conference, I think we'd like to see a couple of SEC teams in there, maybe 3 in that Final Four. You know, we'll see. But I think it's easy to say, well, you know, this coach, you know, he had a first-round loss in the tournament that one year, and then the other year he blew a lead and he, you know, and let somebody come back and win. He's also taken a team to the Final Four.
Right. And should have, I think it was a bad call in that game, should have been playing in the championship
game. Talking about on
game.
the foul on the three-point shot.
Yes.
Yeah. That and the I think that one more of a bad call than the missed double dribble thing.
Right.
I can see that one getting missed more than, you know, I thought the foul call was worse than that. But either way, he's a shot away from playing in the national title game.
Correct.
With a team that didn't have a player as good as Janai Broome. You know, they had good players on that team.
They were solid.
Nobody of that caliber.
Right.
You know, so that just goes to show you, I mean, if you get hot at the right time, you got the right chemistry and the right, you know.
Well, and it's the same as, you know, we can discuss at the other side of the state of Alabama. They did it last year. They lost, I think it was the last 3 out of 4 or 4 out of 5 of the regular season.
Yep.
And then they hit a roll in the tournament, and they rolled right on to the Final Four.
Yeah, and you know what happened? Grant Nelson took over half the season to kind of get used to Southeastern Conference play. But, buddy, by the time they got to the tournament, that guy was playing great basketball. You know, and then you add that to Mark Sears, they just got hot. You know,
That's where I see Alabama making a run. As long as Sears is hot, then they're going to go. If he cools off, then I don't think Alabama goes very far.
It is hard for Alabama to go far in the tournament if Mark Sears is not on his game.
Right.
No, I will say that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think so. You know, to me, there's no question Bruce Pearl's the best coach in Auburn's basketball history. He's the most decorated. He's won more everythings, right?
Sure.
So I think, you know, if he were to take this team to a national title, we're no longer talking about greatest coach in Auburn history. We're talking about one of the top handful of coaches in SEC history. Right. That's where he's.
You know, and one of the things being kicked around out there in social media as well, they're talking about Broome National Player of the Year. They're also talking about Bruce as National Coach of the Year.
Yeah.
So do you see that as a viable option?
I think it should be. And again, I come back to there are some people in the national media who vote on that stuff.
Right.
Who have not gotten over what happened with Bruce in Tennessee.
They have some sore feelings.
They got some sore feelings. They haven't gotten past them. They're not going to let it go.
Right.
So I don't know. I think Janai Broome can win National Player of the Year in spite of that.
Right.
Because the other top candidate for it is a true freshman, and some of them are going to go, well, I'm not giving it to a freshman. Right. Some people won't.
Sure.
Some people will go, man, first freshman to win it. They'll give it to him anyway.
Sure.
Who knows? But I don't know. I think Bruce could be harmed by some of that.
Right.
In his voting, more so than Janai. But that's, who knows? We'll see.
Well,
if he wins the national championship, who else are you going to give it to?
Right. Yeah.
You could find a way, I guess, to give it to somebody else, but why?
Well, that would be the thing because it hadn't done it over the course of the season.
Right.
If they got in a hot tournament run, say Sears, he gets in a hot tournament run, scores 25, 30 a game, and wins the title. Well, you could hand him the MVP of the tournament, but you can't hand him the National Player of the Year.
No, I wouldn't think so. No. It's a two-horse race in that one.
Right. And unless, because Broome's still going on a gimp ankle, if it was to really get hurt, then it would end up being a one-horse race. That'd be the end of it.
Yeah, and Cooper Flagg has earned his flowers for sure. Let's go to the phone. We'll talk to JD in Prattville. How you doing, man?
Good.
What you got?
Okay. I was just going to make that comment. I made the comment earlier on Facebook, but talking about Charles, I meant he was the most fun to watch play basketball back then. He created the foul for a round amount of rebound. When he came down on his elbows, he was breaking noses, arms, shoulders, all that kind of stuff. He was great to watch. We didn't have the three-pointer. I was at the UNLV game back in the day when we played for the first time on national TV, and they killed us with a three-pointer because Sonny didn't believe in it, and I love Sonny. But Bruce, without a doubt, is the best coach Auburn has ever had in basketball. And without a doubt, right now, I believe Broome is the best player. Now, his three-point shot, I do believe, will help put him over the top. But that's about all I got to say, and I'll listen to y'all.
Thank you, JD. Yeah, boy, you talk about innovations in the world of sports that completely changed things. Outside of the forward pass.
Oh, yeah.
The three-point line.
Yeah, and you got guys, now just like Alabama was having to do the other night when Auburn was playing, shooting them from half court.
Yeah.
They're slinging them.
We didn't get a three-point line until I was in high school. I think I was a sophomore when the three-point line came around, and it just so happened that we had a young coach who believed in it. He's like, yeah, we can use this, so.
Well, that seems to be Alabama's philosophy. We're going to use it all the time.
Yeah. We're going to take another break. We'll be back with more on the Auburn Blitz. Stay with us.
This is Joseph Dean with Frederick Dean Funeral Home and Crematory. I am pleased to announce that Lake Martin Funeral Home and Cremation is now open to serve the public at our location on the corner of 49 North and 280 West in Dadeville. Please stop by and see lifelong resident of Dadeville, Molly Kaler, who will be running the office and meeting with families who want to plan ahead and pre-need their services. We are also available by phone 256-750-0381 or online at lakemartinfuneralhome.com.
Bucks Island is your boating headquarters. Are you ready to hit the water and go boating this summer? Bucks Island has all kinds of boats, with one sure to fit exactly what you want. Fishing boats, sport boats, pontoon boats, and all with low monthly payments. Call 1-800-I'm-READY. Bucks Island Service Department experts are also here for you to keep your boat in top running condition. Call 1-800-I'm-READY. Don't be left standing on the bank this summer. Visit online at bucksisland.com and don't buy a boat till you get a Bucks quote.
Looking to transform your outdoor space? Look no further than Bama Sheds. As a family-owned and operated business, we understand your needs. That's why we offer no credit check, rent-to-own options. Enjoy free delivery and setup within 35 miles of our 4 convenient locations. Whether you need a shed, pole barn, garage, or carport, we've got you covered. Visit our website at bamasheds.com or call 256-268-8484. Bama Sheds, where quality meets affordability and your outdoor dreams become reality.
What's the verdict?
Can't fix your heat pump. Need a new one.
Uh-oh. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking Daikin.
Call on Kevin Kill and Sunshine Heating and Air at 256-825-4849, Central Alabama's premier Daikin dealer.
So what's he thinking?
Oh, he's thinking Daikin.
Daikin, one of the top selling in the world.
Now I'm thinking Daikin.
Daikin. Comfort for life. EnviroCare is the standard in East Central Alabama for all your pest control and termite needs. EnviroCare exclusively offers Centricon termite colony elimination system that is the industry's most effective termite control to protect your home year-round. The EnviroCare team's service is also the standard for our customers. From eliminating home pests to superior termite control, nobody cares like EnviroCare. Serving Lake Martin and East Central Alabama.
Grain and Leaf, located at 6068 Highway 63 South, is Lake Martin's premier boutique-style bottle shop with a unique array of sophistication for everyone. Appropriately named for its exclusive selection of top spirits, wine, and craft beer, Grain and Leaf also has a number of fine cigars for you to choose from. They also carry the full line of Hornsby Farms assorted jellies and pottery. Open 10 to 7 Monday through Saturday and noon to 5 on Sundays, Grain and Leaf is your premier shop in the Lake Martin area. Are you ready to showcase your skills and compete with the best in Alabama? The 42nd Alabama State Games are coming to Birmingham and Jefferson County from June 13th through the 15th, and it's your chance to be part of something incredible. Athletes from across the state will compete in sports ranging from archery to wrestling. Those participating in the opening ceremony are eligible for academic scholarships ranging from $500 to $5,000. Mark your calendar. Registration opens March 1st. Visit allagames.com.
When you want quality, selection, price, superior financing, and a pain-free buying experience, look no further than Sons Automotive Group of Montgomery and Auburn. Sons of Montgomery offers the best selection of Kias, Chryslers, Dodges, Jeeps, and Ram trucks. Conveniently located on Eastern Boulevard, Sons Ford of Auburn is the region's Ford volume dealer. And when you shop at any Sons location, they will maximize all incentives and financing options for anyone's credit. Whether Kia, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, or Ram in Montgomery, or Ford in Auburn, Sons Automotive treats you like family because they are family driven.
Welcome back to the Auburn Blitz, the Monday edition. It's JJ and Jim with you. Andy's traveling today. If you hear some noise, we have some guys that are outside of the building working on the plumbing in the building, but they've got a big backhoe back there, and they're digging up stuff, and so you may hear a little noise, and we apologize for that. Scenarios for the SEC regular season championship.
Yes. Ken, the question to you is what is the path that how Auburn wins it?
Well, Auburn just keep winning. If Auburn keeps winning, nobody can catch them.
Okay, now take that one more step lower. If Auburn loses one or loses two, how do they fall?
Yeah, that's the interesting one. Let's say, Auburn's got it's a challenging schedule. Ole Miss is a good team, and
it is.
This game Wednesday won't be easy, and Ole Miss is fighting for a seed too.
Sure.
Right? Then they go on the road to Kentucky. We know that Rupp is not an easy place to play.
Right.
On the road at Texas A&M, one of the better defensive teams in the league.
Gosh, can't even think of his name now. Bud. Their coach's name. Their Texas A&M's coach. Yeah. He has always been a tough one to deal with. He's given Bruce headaches every time they've played.
Yep. And then, of course, they wrap up at Neville against Alabama. So if we were just talking about off the air, if you play that game where Auburn say they drop a road game to Kentucky. Right? I can see that happening.
Okay.
Then if Alabama were to run the table to the Auburn game, Alabama would have a chance to tie them record-wise by beating them in Neville. But one more loss for Alabama, and they can't catch them.
Right.
And Florida is the other team that's 2 games back right now. So one more loss for them, and they can't catch them. And Florida and Alabama play each other.
Right. So somebody's
one
getting
of them's getting eliminated.
Right.
No matter what.
So the odds, if you're a betting person out there, then the odds in the favor of Alabama or Florida losing a game versus Auburn losing 2.
Right.
One of them's going to drop 1 regardless.
I would think so.
And then the other one, the odds are, just like Florida, you called off or talking about Bama, Florida's schedule is just as tough. They do got an easier one this Tuesday in Georgia, but then they've got number 12 Texas A&M, number 6 Alabama, and number 24 Ole Miss.
Yeah.
So they got 3 ranked teams. The odds are they're going to drop one of those.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if you go back and look at, I was trying to flick through it earlier on Florida's schedule. They have lost to Tennessee this year, they have lost to Kentucky this year, and they've lost to Missouri this year.
Right.
So that tells you that they are susceptible, to some of the better teams. And Auburn has beaten all those. Hadn't played Kentucky yet, but Auburn has beaten Missouri and Tennessee. So,
And that Missouri team is a little scary right now. They're catching fire at exactly the right time.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
They could make a run.
They could. You could see them on Saturday or Sunday when we get to the SEC tournament, and it wouldn't surprise me a bit.
So basically what we're trying to sum up then is the depth of winning the SEC. It's a 3-horse race.
Yes.
And 2 of the horses have got a gimp leg, and they better not lose another leg or they're out.
They got to play each other. So there's a loss coming somewhere.
Somebody's out.
Yeah, somebody's out. We just don't know who yet. And if you're Auburn, like I said, you just keep playing your game. And look, if you go on the road to Kentucky or A&M and you drop one, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. You just win the rest of them, right? So,
right. Well, sure.
It's one of those. I do think it's interesting to me, having grown up in this state like most of us here have, basketball's never been that popular in this state as it has been the last 5-6 years, right?
Right.
So I don't think the average fan who maybe is new to basketball, right? Maybe they didn't watch basketball in the 80s and the 90s, and they just sort of have come to it in the last 10 years and go, man, this is fun, So and it's different than being a football fan. Because when you're a football fan, every loss is like somebody just drove a nail through your thumb, right? Every loss hurts, like just kills you.
Is it the scenario of, because we're playing just like baseball, you play so many games.
Yeah.
If you drop 1 or 2 basketball games, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah,
and if you feel like college football is getting to now to have a playoff and make a run in the tournament and all that, they're getting the basketball feel about them that, okay, well, we dropped a game or 2 in the regular season football. We're still in the playoff. We got a chance.
Right.
I think that's a basketball love is, okay, we lost 5, but we're still in the tournament.
Right. I think in basketball too, it's really like, I never wanted to see my team early in the season just dominating, right? Like, I want to know that there's some room for improvement, because in basketball, you can the thing of peaking too soon is true. You can peak way too soon in basketball.
Sure. And I don't think I may be speaking totally out of turn, but from what I'm seeing from Auburn basketball, they have not peaked yet. They have not had a night where everybody's been on together and performed at the level that they could have. It seems to be every night somebody's picking up somebody and somebody's taking over the game when they needed to. Because we'll have a night that Pettiford may have 16, and the next night he has 2 points.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's not that you look at Auburn and you go, man, it is hard to play as good as they're playing.
Right.
That's not true.
No.
I don't think they played their best basketball the last 2 games.
No, they haven't.
Now, I would say they played a hell of a game against Alabama. I thought one of their best performances of the year by far.
Yeah.
But they're capable of that.
They matched,
right?
When you lead from the word go, they matched them slug for slug. Even when Alabama would come back, they would throw another punch and come right back at them.
Yeah, and they're capable of that kind of thing. So, I think but I think sometimes as we're so used to that football thing of, oh, my God, I can't believe we lost a game, that we take every loss so hard. And it's like, well, in college basketball, every loss, you're going to lose games. You're going to run up against a team with a hot shooter that's going to be just draining them, and you can't stop it no matter what you do.
That's what I've told Andy a bunch of times on the show is what happens on the nights when Auburn, that usually shoots 40%, shoots 28%.
That's right.
Can we overcome it? And we have every time.
Well, and look, when you got – and we talk a lot about Janai Broome, deservedly so. But, there's other bigs.
Oh, no. When
Cardwell's a dog.
Cardwell, Denver Jones.
Yeah.
You can go down the list.
Yeah, you got some dogs in there that, like I said, I think Auburn is easily a top 10 team without Janai Broome.
Sure.
I think he puts them in the national championship discussion.
Now, here's the discussion. I want to change gears when we come back.
Yeah.
We're going to talk a little football.
Okay. Football on the other side. It's the Auburn Blitz. We'll be right back.
J.A. Smith Construction, licensed general contractor and your trusted choice for land clearing and grading, site work, underground utilities, concrete paving, and material hauling. They also do storm drain installations, fish ponds, and slough dredging. Call Alexander at 256-896-1400 or email asmith@jasmithconstruct.com. No job is too big or too small for J.A. Smith Construction, the top choice for all of your land service needs.
For air that's cool and clean, call Sensi Green. For air that's cool and clean, care about the air you breathe, call Sensi Green.
Turn to the experts at Sensagreen and find out how to get up to $1,000 in carrier cool cash rebates. Visit Sensagreen.com today to be worry-free when it comes to your home comfort and indoor air quality.
For air that's cool and clean, care about the air you breathe, call Sensi Green.
Sign Source is your local vendor for commercial and residential sign manufacturing and installation. We offer all kinds of lighted and non-lighted signage, from retail signs, LED message centers, event banners, vehicle wraps, the whole spectrum. We also offer service and repair on existing signs, as well as retrofitting to LED or installation of outsourced signage. We have the knowledge necessary to fulfill all of your signage needs in the short or long term. Visit signsourcenow.com to get started.
EnviroCare is the standard in East Central Alabama for all your pest control and termite needs. EnviroCare exclusively offers Centricon termite colony elimination system that is the industry's most effective termite control to protect your home year-round. The EnviroCare team's service is also the standard for our customers. From eliminating home pests to superior termite control, nobody cares like EnviroCare, serving Lake Martin and East Central Alabama. Folks around these parts have known for a long time that Walls Tire, just a mile past the bridge on Highway 280, is your #1 stop for automotive service and repair. At Walls Tire, you'll always find quality service at a fair price on everything from AC, name brand tires, big or small repairs, routine maintenance, towing, and more. When your car or truck needs to run right, there's one place in the area to go, conveniently located and easy to find. Walls Tire, just a mile past the bridge on Highway 280.
Grain and Leaf, located at 6068 Highway 63 South, is Lake Martin's premier boutique-style bottle shop with a unique array of sophistication for everyone. Appropriately named for its exclusive selection of top spirits, wine, and craft beer, Grain and Leaf also has a number of fine cigars for you to choose from. They also carry the full line of Hornsby Farms assorted jellies and pottery. Open 10 to 7 Monday through Saturday and noon to 5 on Sundays, Grain and Leaf is your premier shop in the Lake Martin area.
Passion, the obsession that burns within. Determination, the burning desire to make it. Drive, the motivation to be the absolute best. Skills, the tools to perform at the highest level. Excellence, the feeling of achievement. At Central Alabama Community College, you can release your passion, show your determination, display your drive, and showcase your skills to achieve excellence. Central Alabama Community College, central to you, central to your success.
Are you ready to showcase your skills and compete with the best in Alabama? The 42nd Alabama State Games are coming to Birmingham and Jefferson County from June 13th through the 15th, and it's your chance to be part of something incredible. Athletes from across the state will compete in sports ranging from archery to wrestling. Those participating in the opening ceremony are eligible for academic scholarships ranging from $500 to $5,000. Mark your calendar. Registration opens March 1st. Visit allagames.com.
You know, I almost forgot to mention Pepper Tree Steaks and Wine.
You can't forget that.
Can't forget that.
One of the greatest places to eat in Auburn.
That's right. Listen, they'll cook the food for you, or They'll give you those select cuts of meat. You take them home, cook them yourself. Either way, they've got specials every week. You need to get down there and check them out. It's a great time. I grilled a steak the other night, as a matter of fact. What night? Saturday night, I guess. And I've been getting into the whole reverse sear thing. So,
oh, gosh, yeah. Andy and I got a discussion on it one time before. We were talking about it off the air and others. What's the proper way to cook one of these great steaks from Pepper Tree? Do you have to let it rest on both ends, like get it out of the freezer and let it rest?
Has to come to room temperature.
Yes.
On the reverse sear, what I've been doing, this is what I've done my last couple of times I've cooked a steak. Get it out of the fridge, let it come to room temperature, take a paper towel, dry it off. Mm-hmm. Salt, pepper, a little garlic powder if you want, kind of up to you. And then in the oven for 20 to 35 minutes, just depending on how big the steak is.
Right.
And then straight onto a hot grill for 3 to 5 minutes,
Now, do you feel it's a personal preference versus a ribeye versus a New York versus a tomahawk?
I'm a ribeye guy.
Yeah, I've always been. In Pepper Tree, I got to eat there one time when we did a remote a couple months back, and they've got some fine, thick pieces of meat over there to choose from.
Yeah, man. So Pepper Tree Steaks and Wine, make sure you check them out, Auburn and Montgomery, doing a great job over there.
So before we went to the break, I threw it at you that we were going to talk a little football. This is what I want. Going into the spring, here we are almost into March, everybody starts spring practice, start spring games, and the big national discussion everywhere is let's get rid of spring games. What are your thoughts?
I hate to see spring games go. I think they're such a traditional part of college football that fans really enjoy, Mm-hmm. And, you mentioned this during the break, but there's a lot of fans who can't afford season tickets or can't afford single game tickets. For the, if you got a big family and you want to take you and your wife and 4 kids to a game,
sure,
man, you get into some big money. And the spring games have always been a chance for that to happen. Right. So I think I would hate to see them go away. I do understand the argument, though, and there's a lot of coaches that are canceling spring games because of this. Other coaching staffs are watching these spring games, and then they see an edge rusher, right, who's like a sophomore, but he's out there running with the 2s and 3s.
Right.
And they go, that guy's good enough to start for us. Why don't we let's put a bug in his ear and see if we can get him in the portal.
Sure.
I get it. If I'm a coach, I don't want you seeing that either.
It's the depth chart piece is what you're talking about. Like we've always known, and coaches have done it for years. They've tried to say if we got like Auburn's got right now, you got 3 quarterbacks coming in that are brand new.
Right.
Everybody pretty well figures Jackson Arnold's going to be the starter, but you don't know between Deuce and the other kid coming from California over there, Daniels. He's not going to give out a depth chart until probably August, because he don't want anybody to know.
Yeah.
So if he goes out there in that spring game, and Jackson, the spring game consists of 80 plays, and Jackson gets 70 of them, it's pretty sure that's who they're leaning for.
Yeah.
So, people's going to start making phone calls and go, Deuce, look, they promise you play, buddy.
Yeah.
You can come on over here to Sanford or wherever, name your school, and we'll write you a check.
That's right. Yeah. And, we'll get you on the field faster.
Yeah. So that I get that side of it, that it's we're in a money game now. And you and I also discussing it off the air. I feel like they can get exactly what they need to get done of knowing the information of the development of the player still have spring practice, still have your 15 days.
Sure.
But where you would have had your game, you still have that game, but no fans are there because that's just kind of a reward to those second teamers and third teamers that put in the work all summer to give them a chance to show you what they can do.
Yeah, and you don't. It's not the game with the fans and everything is not a critical piece of building your team.
Right.
It's really it's for the fans. Right?
Sure, it is.
It's for the fans.
Yeah, because you've seen it now. Most of the big schools, Alabama's, Auburn's, everybody's going on TV.
Yep.
They're getting celebrity referees. They're getting old players come out and kick field goals. And they do whatever it is to get people to watch. Is all that is. That's not you're not learning a lot from that. You're just putting on a show.
Yeah, and so one answer to that is a simple one that you and I were talking about. Day after the national championship game to the first opening day of spring practice, that's your transfer portal window.
Yeah.
And if you don't do it then you're committing for that upcoming season.
Correct.
And
keep it simple.
I would just do it that way. I would forget about this 4-game red shirt thing because I think that's stupid. Why would you tempt a kid who's thinking he's going to transfer like, Coach, I don't want to play any more than 4 games because I'm probably going to transfer. Why would you do that?
Right.
just get rid of that. And, and they've got to tighten up. I still think on the money side, and yes, money makes the world go round, no question. I still believe if you've got a player who's on the same page with his coach in terms of what their plan is for him, the plan for you may not be to be a starter this year.
Right.
And if the coach is honest with the player on what that is,
right.
Here's our plan. We want you to compete for the job as a freshman. We think you probably need a year or two.
Correct.
And let's be on the same page about your development, right? And I think if coaches and players are honest with each other about that, it solves some of this. Well, so-and-so's offering me, $5,000 more over there.
Right. That's where I think the money muddies the water, because a kid in this generation, if you show him, I'm going to write you a big check, it doesn't matter what the coach said. Coach, I can go over here and they're going to write me double what you said you would pay, and they're saying I can play now.
Yeah, I think that's true for. It's true for a lot of players. I don't think it's necessarily true for everybody.
Not everybody, no.
I think there's still a lot of players who go into a school going, okay, I'm not looking for like $1 million in college. I'm looking for $50 million from the NFL.
Right.
And so that's what I'm working towards.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So that's going to do it for the Auburn Blitz today. Tomorrow, will we be back to normal? I guess we'll find out.
Should be back tomorrow.
Should be back to normal tomorrow. Hope you guys have a great Monday. We'll talk again tomorrow.